Good morning. Lovely morning out here. Finally stopped raining, so I thought we'd get out and have a look at another walk. This morning we're going to have a look at the pretty little villages of Kirton and Falkenham. These are two little villages that are very close to Felixstowe. They're just 4 miles from Felixstowe. And they are situated between the rivers Deben and Orwell. Kirton has a population of around 1,200 people, and not being far from Felixstowe, it's a wonder that it's escaped the sort of rapid expansion that's happening around here. And despite it being amidst that rapid expansion, it's also very ancient in origin, and it has a very early connection to the Christian faith. Romans are believed to have settled in and around Falkenham. However, its connection with the Anglo-Saxon era is what gives Kirton its confirmed facts. The name Kirton comes from the Anglo-Saxon name Kirkatuna, which means the place of the church. And Kirton is also mentioned in the Domesday Book, not just as having a church, which we'll also see, but also having its own priest, and his name was Godric. So we're going to continue on. We're just going to have a little look. It won't be a long walk because it is a very small village, but definitely worth putting on your radar if you're heading this way in Suffolk. So here we are, just coming into the pretty village of Kirton. It's quite early in the morning, so we shouldn't see too many people around. We're going to take a walk through the village, just up to the village green and down to the church, and then we'll go on to Falkenham. So this is this beautiful little village. It is very quaint. It's definitely worth a drive through, if nothing else. I'll let you listen to the bird song while we're looking out at the fields. Most definitely a lovely place to wake up, that's for sure. And there's some really pretty houses around here too. I noticed on the way through that Kirton Manor, which would have been one of the manor houses back in the day, is coming up here on the left, and we have footpaths that go through, so you can come and explore. I'm going to cross that over so that you can see Kirton Lodge. It looks like there's work being done here. It's very pretty. You can see lots of building materials, but I do think somebody's actually living in there while they're doing the work, which seems to be the case nowadays because everything is so expensive. But good luck to them. Let's have a look around, see? Pretty. This is where we've come from. It's very nice. As I say, not a very big village. This has been a place of Christian worship, and probably on the site of the present church since the 7th century. Falkenham also has a rich history, based on mining coprolite, where it used the river for its transportation. As we come up to the village green, you can see it has one little shop and the pub and the blacksmith shop, which is still in operation and we have used. And you are able to walk straight down to the river. And this was once the outlet to the River Deben, where the ferries once crossed the river into Ramsholt and Sutton. See, absolutely picturesque. Look at this. Why wouldn't you want to wake up here? Beautiful village. Now there is a sign there saying Kirton Lodge down this way, so I think we'll go and have a little nose just to see what's there. Probably again privately owned, but we'll have a little look. Such a lovely morning. The weather has been so miserable of late. It's just crazy. Couldn't do anything, couldn't plan anything, because it would be hot and sunny one minute and then the next minute monsoon style showers and everything was soaked. Another little footpath that says it goes through to Park Lane. So quaint, that's why I say definitely worth a little drive through if nothing else, because you don't know these places exist. We all tend to stick to those big A roads. I'm not seeing a lodge anywhere. That doesn't mean to say it doesn't exist. Oh, traffic coming. No, not seeing anything. That's okay. We'll turn around, retrace our steps. Maybe miles down, and it's just pointing you in that direction. We'll make our way back to the top of the road. And follow my nice long shadow. It's one thing you never miss. Farm vehicles. think it's right along here. There's a lady who sells, well, I'm assuming it's a lady, it could be a man, selling lots of plants. So if you are in need for plants for your garden, head along Bucklesham Road into Kirton and you will see on the side of the road lots of plants on display for sale. We are coming up to Burnt House Lane here on the left. Now this says private road and footpath. I have been down here and this road is a dirt road so far down, and it does lead down to the church. So if you want an alternate route to go down to the church, that's worth going. This is the White Horse pub. This is a Grade 2 listed 1800s pub, and it has been recently extended, and that was during or just after the COVID period, and they're still open and doing well. It's the village pub, so that's probably why it's the only one. And this would have been the local store, so now owned by somebody else. Morning. This here is the village green. Not very much of it, but I guess back in the day would have been quite significant. Here is the blacksmith shop, just here on the corner. Still very much active. Now you can see the sign here for Kirton Church on Rectory Lane. Now as we follow this road down, it does come out to the church. This is Rectory Lane. I'm at the end of Rectory Road. This is Church Lane, the intersection. If we were to follow along down here, probably about 100 yards, then that would come to the other dirt road that I had shown you. As you can see, the church is just sitting here. This is the 14th century church of St Mary and Martin, and it's just a little way down from the village green. This church is also mentioned in the Domesday Book. It had an injection of new blood, and so it's been able to build a new porch and a church hall, which we'll see. Have a little wander round. I had the pleasure of speaking to one of the village residents a couple of days ago when I was visiting, and he shared some interesting facts. So here we are at Kirton Church Hall. Looking at the building, I would say that was sort of 1970s, 1980s. This is the end of the dirt road, that goes up to Bucklesham Road, so you can go right round if you were to come down one road and up to the other and back to the church. Yes, the resident who I spoke to pointed out the detail on the ends of the pews, and each pew has been dedicated to an RAF or CAF airman who lost their lives during the war. And this church and this village sits very close to Marsham Airfield, so they could have possibly been making their way back to that airfield. I will include some photographs. I don't like to film in a church. I don't mind taking photographs with permission. The two manors that I've mentioned in Kirton that were in the 1860s, one was owned by Miss Cartwright and the other by Duke of Hamilton, and he was the lord of the other. As you can see, we have a very long, narrow country lane. Great to drive through, as long as you don't meet a tractor coming the other way. Oh, and look at this morning. Oh, how beautiful. How lovely are you? Many of the village residents believe that the ships that were built here were used in the Spanish Armada. I can't seem to find anything that makes reference to that. This is truly a beautiful little church, definitely worth a diversion and to have a view inside. This is the beautiful church of St Mary and St Martin in the village of Kirton. It's a 14th century church, very well maintained. It sits in beautiful grounds, very well maintained cemetery. If you're a lover of churches, definitely worth a visit. Now there is a place nearby called Kirton Sluice, and it gives no hint of its history. And unfortunately, apart from the square man-made little harbour that's there, there's nothing really visible to see, so which is a shame. This is the end of the village of Falkenham. Now Falkenham is even smaller and it only has an occupation of 188 people, but there's some really beautiful properties here. Just going to wander along, you can just see the church poking up over there, and we'll go and have a look. This house here, I believe, was once a dog pub and is now a private residence. And that dates to the early 19th century. The 1904 Woodbridge licensing records show that the dog's licence was issued in 1853. Whether that was when it was first licensed or it received its full licence isn't that clear. Though the latter is probably more, yeah, the latter's probably more probable if you think about it. And that ceased trading in 1970. Now here, this little tiny sign, which if you're driving you'll miss it, where it says church, that's where you go through to visit the church, and we will pop through there. It was said back in the day that Kirton was held together with rivets, and that meaning came from the fact that there were actually 12 families that lived in this area, and Kirton and Falkenham are so close to one another. Now this is Falkenham Lodge. I'm not going to go down the driveway because it's a private residence, and I don't think I would appreciate someone at this time in the morning walking down my driveway with a camera while I'm having my coffee in my pyjamas. Yeah, so a little story. See, cute cottages. Going to spin round and just go back and show the other side of the road. There apparently the village of Kirton being held together with rivets, and that's because there were 12 families in the village with the name Rivet, and that was often told in the local pub, whether it was the white horse or it was the dog. Now this is the old vicarage, again private property, so I'm not going to go down there. I noticed on the way through that the village shop in Falkenham is closed, but I'll take a picture for the video. We'll head into the church. This is the beautiful Church of St Ethelbert's in Falkenham. If you're coming down to have a visit, just to be aware that it is tucked away, so it's not clearly visible from the road, so you have to look for those black gates, and then it's tucked away, and when you come round the path, as you can see, this beautiful building emerges in front of you. This is a Grade 2 listed church. Falkenham is a very small village, and in its 2011 census there were just 170 people. living in the village. So I'm going to have a wander and explore. I love graves like this. I don't know if it's to keep them in or to keep us out. Beautifully maintained churchyard. What a final resting place to be looking out. Lots of wildlife in here. Just been raced by a pheasant, although I didn't know I was in the race at the time. Just seen the squirrel. How lovely is that to look right out over the River Deben. Wow. Just do a turn around. We'll have a walk right around the exterior. It's a small church, it's a small village. See if the church is open. And we'll have a look inside. Can you take in all the bird song? Let's have a look. Just along here is the Kirton and Falkenham Village Hall. Looks very well tended, doesn't it? This is a really lovely village. It's got a real lovely village feel too. And I guess I'm sort of part way between the two. I'm going to walk down and just have a look at the little village shop that seems to be being refurbished at the moment. I do hope it's going to open again as a village shop because they're so important. Everything seems to go to the superstores now, and we need to keep that identity going. I know that the superstores have their place, but so do the village stores. The village stores pull everybody together. They generally have a little post office and you can pop in and talk to somebody. It may seem that the people who own the village store also own this house, which is being refurbished. Looks really lovely the way they're doing it up. And this is the village store. Just have a wander down so you can see a little bit more of the village. I've noticed as I'm walking through there is a big pull to people using the word lodge and manor in the name. And there were two manor houses, each individually owned, of course. As you can see, they're all the same. Lots of little roads off. See? Pretty. If nothing else, definitely worth a drive through. We'll make our way back, just so that I retrace my steps. I am conscious of only going forward and not letting people see where we've come from. I have to say, a very pretty and well maintained village. I'm conscious too. And it's not yet 7 a.m. Thank you for joining me today on the walk through Kirton and Falkenham. I did just take a drive down to Kirton Lodge. It is actually way off the beaten track. It's not somewhere that you could actually pop by and visit, and you certainly couldn't photograph it. It is very much a dairy farm now, but it does offer lodges that you can stay at. They have 12 self-catering lodges there that you can rent. So if you wanted to stay in a place of outstanding natural beauty, it's definitely worth a visit. If you enjoyed this walk, please give it a like. If you'd like to see more of these style of walks in Essex and Suffolk, subscribe, and then that way you'll be notified whenever they're available. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again on another walk.